did the other $900 go? I don't know. I just know that I don't have access to it anymore. I just know that you wouldn't have access to it anymore. So where did the $900 go? Interest, interest. Now, for you guys who think you have a spending problem, I'm sure you've heard some gurus on YouTube that have told you, hey, you have a spending problem. If you would get frugal, and if you would stop spending your money on all this junk that you have to have every month, you would have money to pay off your bills. How many of us have heard that? I've heard that. Have you heard that if you didn't spend your extra money, you could pay off your bills? Yeah, we've all probably heard that. If we've talked to anybody, or if we've listened to anybody on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. What would happen if you had the $900 and you weren't giving it away to the bank or whoever takes this 900 in interest? Would you be broke anymore? Would you be hurting for $50 to take your kids to the movies? Would you? Okay, let's take it a step further. If let's forget the mortgage because that's really, really big. Let's talk about a credit card. Okay, so you have a credit card. They are a simple interest product. We like them. They're okay. But some of you guys are letting balances sit on the credit cards and they're just rolling over, charging you more interest. Okay, that's okay. We just haven't learned how to use the credit card. So let's imagine that you have a $5,000 credit card balance. You have a 28% interest. And let's just do some numbers here. So 5,000 times 28%. Do it with me so that you'll understand how the interest on the credit cards work. So 5,000 times 28% equals $1,400. All right. This is for the whole year. This is not for a month. This is for a year. Okay. Now let's divide this by 12 to see what we're probably going to average in interest. So $116.66. Okay, now let's go back to that scenario that your kids are like, hey, Mom, can we have a date night? Can we have some fun time where we go out and, spend a night, getting McDonald's and going to a movie? And you're like, I just can't afford that. I just, it's a really short month. I missed a couple of hours at work, so it made my paycheck less and I can't afford that. Oh, really, Mom? What happened if you didn't have to throw away this $116 that you throw away in interest this month? What if you had that? Because see, the card, if you do a 1% on 5,050, so the card amount that you had to pay was probably more like $166.66. This $50 is a 1% that sometimes they charge more or less depending on the credit card company, meaning that this amount right here, you had to spend on paying to the credit card. And you know what? You got about $50 applied to this $5,000 principal balance. Did you all hear what I said? $50 went to actually pay down your balance. So now you owe $4,950. No, you didn't get this whole $166 applied. By the time they take the interest out, which is $116, you have only actually knocked this down by $50. But if you had the interest, wouldn't that pay for a movie night for you and your kids? $116. So how do we correct this if we are throwing away so much interest and it's stealing the money that we could be using to do these things that we want to do with our families, how do we prevent this from happening? Well, you learn what the bank tools do for you and you learn how to use them, and then you get excited and then you run around the room because you're like, oh my goodness, guess what? We have money to do that. Of course we have money to do that. Mom knows how to use the bank. Dad knows how to use the bank. So I don't like when I hear gurus say, hey, you need to back up on your spending. You need to get frugal so that, you can start applying every dime you have to paying off your debt. And you know what? Go ahead and get you a second job. Let's go ahead and grab that second job. And, after we get off the second job, let's go get a job delivering pizzas. And let's just really make that cash come in. And then we're going to pay off the debt. Who wants to live that way? It's not me. It's not me. I don't want the second job. I don't want to deliver pizzas right now. So why can't we have an option that stops this crazy interest problem? We don't have a spending problem. We have an interest problem. What can we do to stop the insanity of interest? Well, let's talk about it. So I'm going to go through a scenario that I worked with earlier. I'm going to pull up their worksheet here and we're going to talk about exactly what they had going on. And I'm going to use their numbers. So you guys get ready because they have retirement. And because they have retirement from jobs and Social Security, they are doing very, very good compared to the older couple out there that I usually work with in a day. But we're going to talk about this and we're just going to run through some numbers so that you can see what other people are doing when it comes to debt elimination.